In the world of digital access and digital social media, audience reach is huge, the potential for audience reach, if readers have access, if people have access. If they don't, we risk creating this divide between those, somebody brought it up yesterday, I think it was Anne, those who have knowledge and information and those who don't. So the tools are there, but only if people have access to the tools and know how to use the tools. There is a potential, I think, for connection with digital tools that never existed before. There's also an enormous potential for isolation, and I don't think anybody's really gotten their hands around this yet. But when I teach my students, I'm very aware of what I call the before and after Facebook generations. And the before Facebook generation still had some sense of shared popular references, shared pop culture references, shared literary references. My post-Facebook students do not. And I think it's because increasingly in a social media world, all of the studies are showing us this, people talk to each other and talk to like-minded people. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing. The question is, how do we become part of that conversation? Is it important that people remember references to Star Trek? Maybe not. You know, does it matter if my students don't get Kobayashi Maru or don't get a reference to Jane, you ignorant slut, right, from Saturday Night Live? Maybe not. But there are shared things in our society that I think can only be dealt with if everybody has access to the same basic issue or story or information. And in this world where we've got our iPods on and we can create our own soundtrack, you know, people can make their own soundtrack to the movie of their life, then what is the shared movie? Now, I am not going to romanticize what newspapers used to do because not everybody read them anyway. And there were also spin stories in newspapers, right? We're just now discovering how much mainstream American newspapers failed to cover black people and the civil rights movement in the way it should have been. But it's still this notion that unless we use these tools to really connect ourselves, I think we can potentially increase isolation. And if we don't have a shared story, I don't think we can solve shared problems. I just really believe that at core, having that shared story about what's going on in society allows us to work together to solve those problems. I mentioned the class divide. Somebody, I think Clyde was mentioning the other day that may I share this piece of information? $400 a month? Yeah, on various cable and telephone and this and that. I don't know a lot of people who have that kind of money to spend, especially in this economy. So some people are tackling this notion of how you get digital access to everyone. Incredibly important, and along the way we have to keep up with and what do we want to say on that digital platform.